Angelica Live, brought to you from the Eternal Word Television Studios in Birmingham, Alabama.
Of Jesus. The most glorious work of all, to praise God in His kingdom. Moved by the Spirit, one who lives in love lives in God, and God lives in him. What a wonderful thing is our church. This whole network is built on trust. The essence of evangelization is to tell everybody Jesus loves you. We're all called to be great saints. Don't miss the opportunity. Well, welcome. This is our family night, Tuesday night, and I have a great crowd here of our family from all over. And I always wish, when these nights come along, and we got so many here, that I could just hug everybody. But you just don't have the time, and so, but everybody knows I love them, right? I love you. And that's what's important, after all. So we'll just have a good time being together. That's all we need. And I just want to say we're going to continue our little talk on the 7 gifts. Most people don't have the foggiest idea what the 7 gifts are. Now, we talk about charisms all the time, but charisms are for other people. And the Spirit gives us 7 gifts, 4 of which are for daily work. How to live with your neighbor, that's a good one, huh? How God is your Father. How we have to have fortitude, we're going to take that tonight, and then counsel. I have to discern. I would suppose of all the gifts here, one of the most needed, 2, fear of the Lord. We have no fear of God. We don't. We think He's some great man up there with a long beard. He always looks old. God, can I get old? I never understood why. We did it in the new church. He's got this beautiful picture of the Eternal Father. He's beautiful. But see, when we say Father, we think of old. I don't know why. There are a lot of fathers here that are not old. You can be very young and be a father. I don't know why. I saw a picture of the Trinity that I've always thought of but never saw, but finally saw, and they all looked alike. And Jesus said, "He who sees me," He said, "sees the Father." Oh. So, don't just all look at the Father with this long beard, but we have to imagine Him in some way. And we always make Him look like He's getting old. He better not, or we're all in trouble. But He looks like Jesus. Jesus looks like the Father and the Spirit too. So we have, speaking of the Spirit, I was reminding the other sisters a couple of weeks ago. One time when I was writing the books, that's years ago, and I was dead tired, just dead tired. And so I went to bed and I fell asleep. And do you ever get so tired you feel like your body's going through the mattress? Ever feel that way? Huh? Somehow you feel something between you and the mattress is missing. You're just kind of... Anyway, I woke up, it must have been sometime between midnight and 2 o'clock. And I saw, it's clear as day, this cameo, this round, looked like a frame. And I looked in there, I knew who it was immediately, because he looked just like Jesus, but he didn't have a beard. And I looked at him and I said, Hi, Holy Spirit. And when I woke up in the morning, I thought, why did I do that? I just went back to sleep, and he never came back again. Never. And I thought, well, he has to understand me. I mean, he knows me. But from him, he looks just like Jesus, and the Father looks like Jesus. Jesus looks like the Father. I want to give you a new reality of the Trinity, see? There's not one old, one kind of medium, and we don't know what the Spirit looks like, you see. We have three persons, not two persons and a dove. We have three persons, see? And that's what we have to realize, that when the Spirit, the love that exists, that is between Father and Son, is so powerful. He's a person, see? Well, when that person comes into our hearts when we're baptized, well, some of you out there haven't baptized your children. The priest said to my mother when she brought me to the fount, why didn't you wait? She could have walked here. But you know how Italians are. They have to wait for Kumari to come and Kumbari to come. And if everybody isn't there, then they wait and wait and wait. But when that Spirit comes, he brings all these awesome gifts. Oh, wow. And that's what we need. I need to fear the Lord. Some of you teenagers act like there is no God. And I don't blame you. Maybe you've never been told there is a God, and he has things we can do and things we can't. Why? Well, it's like if you bought a car. Try to put sand in your carburetor. Ever try it? Well, ever try to put sand in your carburetor? Well, you say no, it wouldn't run. Well, the book says you don't put sand in your carburetor. You don't mind that at all. You don't care. Oh, yeah, that's smart. But when God says, don't do this, oh, you're all upset. You say, oh, he has no right to tell me what to do. Oh, he does. I got news for you. Just like the automotive industry has a right to say, and they even tell you what kind of gasoline. They put a red mark here. It's just like kindergarten. You will put up your gas tank, and there is a red mark. And then you go around looking for the red mark in your gas station. Is that right you do? Because they want to be sure you put the right gasoline in there. See, somebody has to tell you what to do every 5 minutes. Did you ever notice that? You pay a lot of money to go to doctors these days. And you wait. And you wait. And you wait. By the time you get in, you got shingles. Or you feel like you got shingles. You know, you're just kind of edging all along. And they don't care. You get in there, and by the time you get in, sometimes they say, well, what can I do for you? I got a headache. A headache. Yeah, from waiting 5 hours out there. But you don't say that, you see. But we all have rules and regulations. Are you a yellow lighter? Ah, you don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you do. There is a red light, and there is a yellow light, and there is a green light. Why do you think they're there? And you all go through the yellow light. Why? It's almost something in your heart that says, go, you dummy, you almost made it. I see people going through yellow lights all the time. And you got a lot of time. You're way back here, and you know, all of a sudden, that red light's going to come, and you go, pew. And you feel so good about it. You know, you just feel like you did something wonderful. But it's kind of stupid, because what happens if the man on the other side decided he was going? We say, well, he's waiting for the green light. But somebody has to tell you what to do. And so does God. See? And once we know, we don't want to offend him, and that's fear of the Lord. Do you have fear of the Lord? Or do you go headlong into anything, everything? Now, piety, we went through that. I have to love you and you have to love me. And I have to say have to, but we share the same Father. The same eternal Father breathed a soul into you and me. And we're all different. I saw a pair of twins who were so alike that they wore a little button. If they ever switched buttons, you didn't know who they were. They liked many things alike. Still, they were different. Very different in many ways. And today, we want to talk about fortitude because we all need it. We all need it. I don't know what you know about dusty roads. You know anything about dusty roads? If you've never been in a dusty road, come to Birmingham sometime. When we go out to the farm, I will show you. It's like these storms you have in out west, these dust storms, you know how it swirls like a tornado, or every time a bus couldn't get through there. Every time a car goes, or a big truck, you find this all dust. Everybody hates it, but no matter how slow you go, there's that dust, see. So we reach the inevitable. We all have to put up with it. What do we need? Fortitude. Fortitude. And that's what we want to talk to. Some of you are very ill. And you don't know whether you'll get well or not. Some of you are terminal. You already know that. The doctors have told you that. And so, you know. But what do you need? Fortitude. We need that courage to accept God's will. That's the hardest thing. See? Sometimes we know God's will. And some people say to me, how do you know God's will? I say, well, if it's happening, it's God's will. That's simple. It's not knowing God's will that's hard. It's doing it that's hard. We all have strong wills. We all have strong wills. And the purpose of religious life is to temper your strong will, so that you do the will of someone else, we call a superior or abbess or prioress, whatever, who represents God to you, and you do that. It's the same with your mother and father. Oh, but we don't always do that with our mother and father. Why? We lack fortitude. It's a courage, not just like courage that you have, that you could do something difficult. But fortitude is inside the heart, see? And it's an endurance that you're able to do. You ever know some people have the awesome gift of enduring pain, suffering, and terrible, terrible crosses. A friend of mine, I think it was a newspaper boy, he drove up to deliver the paper and back down off. By that time, her little 4-year-old was there and was killed. Well, they had to have a lot of fortitude. So did the young boy. He didn't know. He couldn't see her. What is it there that you need to accept and endure? That's where so many of you lose your faith. Why? Well, the roof of my house is leaking. Well, go fix it. Why get disheartened? Now, a lot of things don't need fortitude, they need common sense. Common sense. Some of you can't drink hot things. I can't drink hot things because it burns my tongue. Well, then if I drink something hot, like I did the other day, I'm stupid. But I need fortitude to acknowledge that that was the dumbest thing I ever did. See, because I know. One time I burned my tongue real bad. So it wasn't healing. I went to the doctor and he looked at me and said, "You have a geographic tongue." I said, "A what?" He said, "You have a geographic tongue." I said, "Well, what's that mean?" He said, "It changes every day." I said, "My tongue changes every day?" He said, "Yes. Today it's sore on one side, tomorrow it's sore on the other side." He said, "Look at it. It looks just like a map." I said, "Well, what do you do about it?" He said, "Nothing." I said, "Nothing for it?" He said, "No." I said, "Why did I come here?" "I thought you had something I could gargle with or do something with." He said, "No, that's it." I said, "How long is it going to last?" He said, "Till you die." See, when you got to pay for that, that's when you need fortitude. Isn't it true, huh? Now, fortitude is what? Courage in suffering, perseverance in doing good, and prudence. I had a woman tell me one time she was, the 9-foot ceiling in her house, and the light went out. Well, she got a ladder, and she took off the cover of the light, and it started to fall. And she said, "I used faith to save it." I said, "Huh?" "I used faith to save it." And I said, "Well, didn't it break?" She said, "To pieces it broke." And what's faith got to do with it? If you drop something from 9 feet, it's going to shatter. Well, I thought if I believed, I said, faith has nothing to do with a falling item. If it's falling, it's going to hit something. See, we misuse because right then you need common sense. All you need to do is say, "It slipped." And there it is all over the floor. Now what? You go buy a new one, that's all. See, we don't need faith when something like that is happening. I need the fortitude to admit that I did a dumb thing. And you know, that's very hard for some people. Extremely hard to admit they did something stupid. But it takes humility too, and perseverance in doing good. Do you ever get discouraged because you don't seem to be changing? Huh? You've been this way since you're what? 5 years old? You've been spouting since you're 5? I told my father's mother was a very gourmet cook. And she used to take the bones out of a chicken raw. And then you cooked it and you just sliced it down. Quite an art. Well, my mother couldn't do it, so we had that. They had a stove. I can see that stove yet. And my mother had the stove down, ready to put her chicken in the oven. And my grandmother was letting her have it because she didn't debone it. And I was 3. And I can see it. I looked up at my grandmother and I said, "Oh, shut up." You all-time talk. I was 3. But I still do that. I got mad at one of the workmen yesterday, and I let him have it. See? Then he let me have it, but I had the last word. But I'm still working on it. A lot of times I'm able to keep my mouth shut, but it takes fortitude. It takes a lot of it. See. You can count to 10, you can count to 20, you can count to 40, and here it's still there. See. But you got to have fortitude to say, look, what's the difference? You know, what's the problem here? I don't need to spout right now. So we need fortitude. So let's see what fortitude gives. Fortitude gives me the power, that's a power from the Spirit, to persevere in doing good. You know, a lot of us have some wonderful ideas. I know some of you charismatics years ago, in the 60s and 70s, 80s, early 80s, oh, you got the Holy Spirit, or you thought you got it, you've always had it, and you were just going wild. You felt good and you could do anything. Well, here comes dryness. What's that? Dryness is a gift from God. I call it a gift from God. Why? When you don't feel like praying. When you want to pray with all your heart, but just nothing there. It's like dry bones. Like the sand in a desert. And we lament. We say, oh, I did something terrible. No. One of the greatest gifts in our prayer life that God gives us is dryness. Then I can love Him for Himself. I'm not loving Him because I feel good. I'm not loving Him because He answered a prayer of mine. I'm not loving Him for any other reason except He is worthy of all love. So if I am dry or I have consolation, it shouldn't matter to us. See, it shouldn't matter at all. If you can do it with Him, and you can love Him and give Him what He asked at the present moment. But that takes fortitude. You can't do that consistently. You know, being a saint, I think it's easy. It's accepting your daily chores, your daily crosses. And maybe there's no other cross except that your husband just retired. Right? Yeah. And he follows you from room to room to room. Now take that one for a while. Say, oh, I love him. Well, then what's your problem? But not from room to room to room. Why? You don't have fortitude. Why don't you say, sweetheart, why don't you go sit on the porch? You need the air. Then he says, we don't have a porch. You need fortitude. What are you going to say next? Go sit on a rock? No. Now, how about the women? Well, women that retire can be a pain in the neck too. Why? Because your energy level goes down. You used to do a lot of things. You used to go swimming. You used to go here, there, and everywhere. And now you're, oh, I'm tired. But now you're both retired, and now all you do is sit there being tired. See, the purpose of retiring is not to watch your arteries get hard. The purpose of retiring is to enjoy the fruit of your labor. Not that you're going to live it up, but that you can pray more, you can talk to each other more. You can do a lot of little things, like walk around the block together. That's the purpose of retiring. It isn't to go from one country to another. All you do is get more tired. I've seen people come home from a vacation that look absolutely wretched. Got bags under their eyes. Say, where were you? Vacation. Where did you go? To the beach. What beach? And Hawaii. Ooh, no wonder you're tired. Nothing wrong with Hawaii. I'm going to get all these letters now saying, what's wrong with Hawaii? Nothing wrong with Hawaii. But no wonder you're tired. You probably could go about 50 miles from your home and you had the same thing cheaper. I make a bet. But that doesn't appeal to you because it doesn't take as much time, and there's just something about traveling that you expect to be miserable. Oh, I went to so-and-so, and I went maybe to a holy place. And what happened? Oh, God, it was terrible. What's terrible? We prayed all day. Well, what's wrong with that? Well, I got so tired. That only proves you never prayed before. But see, on a trip, you need fortitude. If you go on a trip with 40 people, how many here came by bus? None of you? Oh boy, you see? And when you needed to stop, nobody else did. And the bus driver, he's got to stop, and you're going to wait until that stop. I'm thirsty. Tough. I'm hungry. Tough. We're going to stop at the next stop at a restaurant. When is that? 40 minutes. 40 minutes. What does it take? Fortitude. All you school teachers, you know how hard it is, huh? How hard it is to teach today? You don't know if they got a gun in their pocket or not. See, everything takes fortitude. All you people go to, what do you call them, hairdressers? What do you call them? Is that what you call them? I know this. The stuff they put on your hair has to smell. I mean, pretty bad. To curl your hair. You know, I think anything that's strong enough to curl your hair is pretty smelly. It used to be when they had all these things sticking out of your hair like this. You look like somebody came from outer space. And I said to my mother after she forced me into that chair, how long is it going to last? And she said, maybe a month or two. I got to go through this every 2 months. She said, yes. I said, oh, terrible. But you do that. Takes fortitude. If you're 16 for the rest of your life, you're going to have to do that. Isn't that terrible? See? Why? It takes fortitude. Fortitude to be kind when you don't feel like being kind. Oh, that's the hardest thing, huh? Fortitude when I don't feel like being loving. You get up in the morning, not a good time to get up in the morning. Some people are morning people, some people are night people. The night people don't get peppy till nighttime. When you're about ready to go to bed, they're peppy. Why don't we go out and do something? Fortitude. Just plain fortitude. Because you got to get dressed and go out to please your husband or your wife. It takes love, compassion, and fortitude. And that's consistent. To be polite. All you youngsters, don't know what politeness is, hardly anymore. Some of you are, of course. But some of you, you'll go through a door and let some little old lady behind you fend for herself. That you don't want to be loving and kind over a long period of time. But we don't know if we have a long period of time. I never in my wildest dreams ever thought of being 76. I thought that was really terribly old. Takes fortitude, a lot of fortitude. Now here's another thing. I can accept a headache with comfortable ease, knowing it'll be better tomorrow. But what happens if it's cancer? Or a brain tumor? What happens then? What happens when a doctor says you have maybe 6 months? Well, it takes fortitude. If you don't feel you have that kind of fortitude, please pray for it. I gave you a lot of examples of fortitude tonight because I think that's how we learn what we need. And fortitude means patience and perseverance. And I'm just going to read you that and we'll go for a phone call. To persevere when I must wait for the conversion of a friend. Isn't that hard, huh? When somebody you know needs conversion, and it just doesn't seem to happen. For the return of health, mine and others. For the recognition of a job well done. How many times do you say to someone you love, maybe who just mowed the lawn, and say, hey, that was a great job? See, we're so self-centered. Or your wife makes a nice pie and you're tired, you have a hard time at work, and you don't even notice. What's for dessert? Pie. Well, I'd hit you right on the head with that pie. The arrival of a loved one, the settlement of a dispute, forgiveness of a friend, the reconciliation with an enemy, the cessation of pain, the control of my own weakness, the time when all men will be brothers. Don't we all wait for that, huh? And the journey's end. We will all have a journey's end. Then I need the gift of fortitude. So in your daily life, my friends, and family, when things get too hard that you think you can't go on another day, another second, ask the Spirit to increase within your heart and mind and soul the gift of fortitude. It doesn't mean all of a sudden you're going to feel courageous. It doesn't mean you'll persevere. Keep going. Think about it's maybe what you need to pray for. Fortitude. We have a call. Hello?
Hello, Mother.
And where are you from?
New York.
Oh, good. And what is your question?
Mother, in the book of Mark, chapter 11, verse 24, Jesus says, I give you my word. If you are ready to believe that you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer, it shall be done for you.
Mm-hmm.
And what do we do when you are ready to receive it and you pray on it and it doesn't happen?
God answered your prayer. He said, no. You know, we don't look at no answer as an answer, huh? Or it just isn't ready. Sometimes we pray for a conversion. But we have to realize before our dear Lord, even God converts or gives people the grace is always there, they don't answer. It takes time for a person to admit they're in trouble and they need time for that will that is so set against God sometimes to turn. It takes time. And that's fortitude. You can always ask for something with courage. And constant prayer is fine, but not nervous prayer. You know, like, I need this, Lord. I need it now. Yeah. I hope you weren't praying for patience. I need it now. See, we have to have that. You know what we took a couple of weeks ago was the gift of fear of the Lord, which filial fear. It doesn't mean we're scared to death or shaking in our boots. It means I love my Father in heaven, and I've asked Him for something. I can drop it. He heard me the first time. Some people have some grave moral problems, and they really want to stop. They really want to quit. They really want to change. But their wills are weak. Why? Because they have been giving in all these years. It takes time. Whatever you're asking for, ask Him once a day. You want to do that? Just once a day. Then go about your business, loving Him, praising Him, thanking Him. And then, if He says yes or no, know for sure. He is going to do the very, very best for you. We have a Father in heaven that is capable of anything and everything. But there are some things that God, I can't say He can't do, but if our dear Lord puts a square peg in a round hole, it's still a square peg. It's just in a round hole. He doesn't make the square peg round. Right? Well, some of us are in that position. We expect Him to put a square peg in a round hole. Well, He will. It's still a square peg. Some people have square heads. They just don't answer. They're just not ready to change their lives. Whatever you're asking for, keep asking in a loving way, and just say, Lord, I leave it to you. I can't do anything about this situation, or I need conversion. I'm not making headway, but you're trying. You're making headway. You're trying. You want to change. You know you should change. Those are all graces from God. So maybe we're being answered and you don't know it. In either case, please keep praying, but not with impatience. If I know He loves me, and I think you know He loves you, if whatever you're asking for is His will, fine. If it isn't, fine too. We have another call. Hello?
Yes, hello.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you one question.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to know, how do the sisters receive serenity? Is it through years of prayer and meditation?
Well, serenity comes to everyone through that assurance you have of knowing for sure. See, we know a lot of things, but we're not sure. Huh? Everybody said, yeah, I know God loves me. But do you really know that? Is it a conviction in your heart that comes to your mind when you're in need, when something happened, when there's a tragedy? Does it fill that hole? I think serenity comes to all of us when we accept the will of God with joy. With joy. And not the kind of joy that's happy. The kind of assurance that comes, I know I don't like what's happening, but it's okay. somehow, for some reason, God put his stamp of approval. He either permits it or ordains it. Either way, if I accept it with love, then I think serenity is either there or around the corner. Because most of us are always kind of unhappy over everything. For some reason, if it's raining, we want it to be sunshine. If it's sunshine, we want it to rain. If I can be happy or joy-filled with the present moment, which means what? Content with the present moment, then serenity of soul will be mine. Try it sometime. Try to see Jesus. When Holy Father Francis passed a leper one day, he just ran away fast. He, kind of got his horse to go as fast as he could, and then he stopped and he said, "Wait a minute, what am I doing?" So he backed up and he got off of his horse and gave the leper his coat and kissed him. And he said he felt such freedom. I'm not saying we should do that, but the acceptance of God's will at that moment lifted his soul high. Because he overcame himself, see? And sometimes to bring serenity to my soul, I have to forgive. I have to forget sometimes. I have to really respond to the present moment rather than react to the present moment. I think if we all try that, we should have that serenity. And serenity, if I had to put serenity in one word, I would say trust. Perfect trust. We have another call. Hello?
Hi, Mother.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine. And what is your question?
I have a husband who I've been praying for his conversion for about 2 years, the Rosary Divine Mercy Chapel, and things just keep getting worse. And I don't understand why God won't change him so we could have a happy family, because my 4-year-old daughter is suffering because he walked out again. And I just can't understand why God won't change him. We keep praying for it. Like, wouldn't he want us to be a happy family instead of being this way?
Yeah. Well, it's very hard. Very hard. But perseverance again. See, that's part of fortitude, huh? Perseverance is part of fortitude. I have to keep on doing the same thing. No matter how I feel. Well, we're going to mess up once in a while. But at the same time, I keep trying. See, our Lord wants effort. He knows we're not always going to be successful. Effort. And so when somebody leaves like that, or that takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength. Don't ever feel that it's hopeless. And when I became a religious, I used to pray for my father once in a while because I didn't know him that much, but still, he did come and see me in the monastery. He cried and told me to tell my mother he was sorry. A long time just to come to that. A long time. And when I found out he died, I called the hospital and I said, "Did John Rizzo come in the hospital?" Said, "Yes, he was dead on arrival." Well, my dear father had not been to Mass, I think. Maybe when he was married, and that's it. But I knew when he came to see me, he was sorry. Sincerely sorry. And I said, "Well, did anybody anoint him?" Or she said, "Well, she said that was a strange thing." She said, "I was on duty at the time, and a priest came along in a brown habit. I said, brown habit? I said, yes. And anointed him. Well, I almost jumped out of my skin. A prayer answered at death. See, so never give up, honey. Sometimes our prayers are only answered at death. And I really feel he was saved. Why? Because there was not a priest in my city of Canton, Ohio, in a brown habit anywhere. I don't know who anointed him, because he was already dead, so he couldn't go to confession. But somewhere along the line, you see, what seemed so hopeless was filled with hope. And I prayed for him. I was pretty sure he'd be in purgatory. So how do you know? Well, I don't know. Who knows where anybody is? But considering whoever the priest was, God sent him for a reason. So never lose hope on anybody. Just don't expect it to be done in your time. That was such a surprise to me. I guess my prayer was not as filled with trust as it should have been. I don't know. But it happened. God heard me years ago. And he never forgets. See? So please don't stop. Whatever you're praying for, a conversion is the hardest. Like I said, the people are getting the graces you're praying for, they don't listen. In Italian we say croce tosta. Simply means hard head. We had one of the patriarchs here not too long ago. Well, yeah, it was a couple of years ago, I guess. And he was on the show at one of the Eastern churches. And after the show, he said to me, "What was your father's nationality?" I said, "Calabrese." "Oh," he said, "Testadura." I said, "Yeah, testadura," which again means hard head. And he was talking to me. He wasn't talking to my father. He was talking to me when he said testadura. So, see, there's something. Why did I say that? That has nothing to do with the subject at hand. Anyway, whatever the reason, sometimes it takes time. Just don't stop. Don't get discouraged or disheartened. God has his time. And unfortunately, God so often has to wait for us to say yes. That's what's so, to me, I always felt kind of sad about it, because he's God. Why should he have to wait for us to say yes to what he's asking for? Huh? It don't seem right, does it? So if we put our minds and our heart on saying yes to God whenever he asks us to do things that are very difficult. Tonight I came here to the show and I found somebody in my chair. Who was that went from chair to chair in those old kiddie stories, huh? With that, who was it, huh? Goldilocks. Okay. And Goldilocks, there it was. So I looked and I thought, come up here, sweetheart. Can you come up here? Come on. There we go. See? Now, here we are together. Huh? How you like that? Huh? You want to say something to the people? Huh? Can you say I love you? Can you say I love you? Kind of scary up here, isn't it? Huh? Are you scared? Huh? Yeah? You want to give me a smooch? Huh? It's not going to work either. Can I give you a smooch? Yeah? Oh, boy. How's that? Are you happy to be up here? Yeah? You want to say something to the people? What? What do you want to say? Say hi. Do they want to say hi? Well, I'm stuck. Are you happy to be here? Huh? You happy to be here? Yeah? You know my name? No? You know, in the beginning of our network, we used to have one of these, what do you call it, telethon? They never worked for us, but we had one time, and sometime I just got the sisters in because I was running out of words. And I got the sisters in, and I thought I'd ask them questions. And I said to Regina, now, why did you become a Franciscan? And she said, seriously, I didn't know we were Franciscan for 2 years. I almost wanted to die right then and there. I said, you didn't know you were Franciscan for 2 years? She said, no. I said, oh, God. So, you gonna say a word? You look very beautiful. Huh? You like it up here? No? Can you go back to your mama? You're not gonna fall, are you? Come on. Father's gonna help. Brother's gonna help you. There you go. Well, thank you. Brother's moving his fingers up and down. I'll see you again tomorrow night. Bye now.